Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Utility Sports. Today, we are going to be talking a little bit more in depth on the Gordon Hayward news. Obviously, a few days ago, it had been announced that he would be going and joining the Charlotte Hornets, and we do have a video up on that on our channel, so that'll be in the cards right here, right now for you. So go ahead and click that if you want to watch that video. But here now we have an official move with Boston agreeing to sign and trade Gordon Hayward, and they're also giving up 2 future second-round draft picks to the Charlotte Hornets for a conditional future second-round pick. And you might be wondering, why would Boston give up 2 second-round picks and the rights to Gordon Hayward in the sign and trade to help Charlotte acquire him, who just officially waived Nick Batum today? Why would Boston go to their way to do that and only get back 1 conditional second-round pick? It might sound like they, gave up extra picks and assets. The reason is because that trade exception right there is technically its own asset. At that point, I believe it's around $27 million, their trade exception, which is one of the largest in league history. Oftentimes, we don't see max players get dealt in sign and trade situations. So it's quite a big deal, actually, that they're able to get this trade exception here. And this gives them a lot of flexibility. You're looking at a team now that has their core still intact with Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, obviously Tristan Thompson, Daniel Tice, brought in Aaron Nesmith on draft night, and a team that's really got, a lot of quality players. They got Grant Williams there. They've kind of got a filled out roster. They brought in Jeff Teague on the minimum. They're looking at some still movable assets, and they still have their own draft pick capital to move first round picks. And this trade exception is going to allow them to take in a player up to $27 million worth, maybe even multiple players in a deal. And this is what we saw with the Golden State Warriors, how they acquired Kelly Oubre. Obviously, one of the trade-offs for that is they're going to have to be willing to pay a really high luxury tax number. But if that's the move that they think they need to make to win a championship, that's something that we could see Danny Ainge pull the trigger on later. And it is a really big deal at this point to really consider. You're looking at that's enough money to really get close to pulling in a player of James Harden's caliber. Obviously, they'd have to throw in $10 or $11 million yet into that. Not that they're going to even necessarily target James Harden. I don't think they're going to. But having that flexibility and the money ways to go and get that, they'll have this trade exception for the whole year, something that they can use to work forward in trades. And it could be used to even just take in a $5 million player on the books. That's something that if Boston feels like they need to add a little bit more depth on the wing or in the backcourt, that's something they could do. But it also gives them the flexibility to go make a bigger move long term. You're looking at a possibility here to use some of your assets into that trade exception without having to give up matching salaries. And just like in Golden State's case, obviously they brought in Kelly Oubre, didn't have to give up any players out, something that works really well for teams that begin to thin out their depth as they get really top-end, high-hitting players that are really expensive on the books. And now this gives you a way to acquire another talented player without having to send other talent out the door. And just giving up draft pick capital. Now Boston has that opportunity. Obviously, we saw Gordon Hayward go out the door, though. So they did lose someone talented, someone who averaged 17 points a game, I believe 6 rebounds, 4 assists for them last year, a player that I do think that they will miss a little bit. Obviously, they're trending in the right direction, though, with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's progression. But you're looking at now Boston has an opportunity to essentially replace Gordon Hayward with either a variety of other players or one specific player that fits into that trade exception. We heard rumors that they shut down a Miles Turner sign and trade option, and this might be why they wanted that trade exception, gives them a little bit more flexibility. And at the end of the day, if they pay a premium to go get a guy like Miles Turner, they still could. They could go get Victor Oladipo. There's a whole bunch of other players they could. And if you're Charlotte, the whole reason for doing this too is you're still getting Gordon Hayward, the guy you wanted to sign outright. But now you're also getting incentivized to help out the Celtics by getting those extra second-round picks and only having to send a conditional future second. So something that I think both sides can be pretty happy with. Boston had moved on from Gordon Hayward. Obviously, they're losing some talent there, but they're able to get that trade exception, gives them a lot of flexibility moving forward. And that's something that is really important to contending teams. I can't stress that enough, that if we see Boston in some trade rumors going forward, we're not going to have to see a player like Marcus Smart or Kemba Walker get shipped out to bring in an even bigger name. They'll have that exception to bring in salary cap, and they'll have their draft pick capital to use as their assets. So that's kind of breaking down the Boston, Charlotte sign and trade I still like the move for Charlotte a lot, getting Gordon Hayward. That's going to be the best free agent their franchise has ever signed, essentially. And they're getting now 2 future second-round picks on top of it. But I also like this recovery by Boston, giving them some flexibility with the cap moving forward and an opportunity to maybe replace Gordon Hayward in a more needed facet, like maybe a more traditional rim protecting center, or possibly, a backup point guard to improve over Jeff Teague. But now they've got a lot of different ways they can address this moving forward now. So I really like this move for both sides. And if you guys are new to utility sports, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We'll be posting content every single day here. So we'd love if you guys stick around and keep up to date with more of our content moving forward. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.